It is the next day. We are ready to install our used engine on the vehicle. I prepped the engine. I cleaned all the mating surfaces off camera. We cleaned the exhaust manifold mating surface and the intake manifold mating surface. We also replaced the timing belt and the water pump on this engine. So if you want to know what I did or how to remove and replace the timing belt on this engine, I recommend you watch our timing belt replacement video on a 2012 Chevy Cruze. It's going to be a good video. We made a separate video about the timing belt replacement, so I recommend you watch that video. So now, since this engine is prepped, we're going to install it. So now let's do that. So I'm going to grab my air line first. We're going to lift the engine up. Actually, let me grab my glasses. Safety first. All right, safety first, guys. Now, I'm gonna step back a little bit because you don't want to be close to the engine, because if this engine hoist fell, you have to be able to run. So that's a pretty good height right there. So now we're gonna push our engine towards the vehicle. Just like that. Nice. And then we're gonna turn it like this. Okay. And now I'm gonna start lowering the engine slowly. So I'm gonna hold the engine as I'm lowering it. We're gonna go slowly, so we have to push the engine hoist out a little bit. So at this point, we need to adjust and slowly lower the engine into the engine bay. Just like that. So I gotta go outward a little bit towards the passenger side. I'm making sure that the engine is free, it's not touching anything. Let's keep lowering the engine. Just like that, easy peasy. Okay. We're gonna keep lowering the engine. So we're gonna adjust over here a little bit. So the engine is going down slowly. Very nice. So we're gonna go down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that the holes over here line up. So I'm gonna get my bolts ready. So you guys won't be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm making sure that our holes here are lined up. Okay, so I got the bell housing bolts started. I'm gonna bring you here so I can show you what I just did, and then we're gonna lower the engine completely. We're gonna tighten these two bolts, and then I'm gonna install the motor mount, and then we should be good to go. So here's what I did over here. So I lowered the engine. So I got these two bolts over here started. So we have this one that's started. I got this one started too. This one has started as well. So now we're going to tighten them. Okay, so I'm gonna lower the engine just a little bit. Just like that. And then we're going to tighten these bolts. Okay, so this is gonna push the block against the transmission. Okay, so just right there. I apologize for the noise in the background. Everybody's in the shop and we're all working. So okay, so once you get these bolts tightened, actually let's get this one on also. Okay, and then so right now the block is against the transmission, so we're good over here. Now the other thing I need to do is we have to make sure that our torque converter is gonna spin freely. So if I put my finger in this hole, I can spin the torque converter. You guys probably won't be able to see, but I can spin the torque converter, so that's good. The other thing you want to make sure of is you have to make sure that the torque converter is spinning freely. Okay, let me zoom you in this little hole over here. You see that? The torque converter is moving, so torque converter is free. We can line up the torque converter holes to the holes on the flex plate so we can tighten the torque converter bolts. So that's good. All right, so we're good to go. The engine is installed. Okay, so now let's install the motor mount in front of the engine. Now the next step is we're gonna install this guy over here. And then after we install this mount, we should be able to remove the engine hoist. Nice, just like that. Our mount is installed, so I'm just making sure that everything is lined up here. So we got this one started, we got this one started. Okay, so now we're gonna tighten these bolts. All right, we're good to go. All right, so we got the motor mount installed. So now I'm gonna lower the engine hoist completely. Okay, so just like that, the engine is installed. I'm gonna slide our engine hoist out. We are done installing the engine on the vehicle. So this is good. So we got the chain removed. So now I'm gonna lift up the vehicle a little bit. So now let's start putting everything back together, and then we're gonna start this engine. It's actually very nice outside here today. So now we're gonna install our torque converter bolt. So I am going to spin the engine. So right now everything I'm gonna do is going to be the reverse process of the removal process. So now we're gonna spin the engine clockwise until the torque converter, until the hole, the torque converter bolt hole lines up with this hole over here. And then I'm spinning the torque converter. I can't really see back there. So right there, the hole is lined up, so I had to use my mirror to see the torque converter hole over there. Okay, so this is gonna be a little short. So how are we gonna do this? So we're gonna grab this magnet and grab our bolt with it. So we can screw it here. So I'm gonna get the torque converter bolt started by hand first. So this is a 18mm bolt. All right, I got it started. That's good. So now we're gonna spin the engine again until we get to the next bolt hole. Okay, just right there. We're gonna put our shop rag down here again. Okay, so this is good protection in case we drop the bolt. So here comes the second torque converter bolt. Okay, we're gonna repeat the same process. So now I'm going to tighten this bolt. So we're going to tighten the first torque converter bolt. Okay. Now you just want to go a little snug on these. You don't want to go gorilla on these. So that's good. And then we're going to spin the engine and torque the other one. So the good thing about this is that there is just 3 of them. Some torque converters have 6, so this one only has 3, so that's good. We're going to tighten the second one. Perfect. All right, now we're going to tighten the last one. All right, so second torque converter bolt, last torque converter bolt is tightened. I'm gonna check the last one. All right, so we're good. Alrighty, so we got all the torque converter bolt tightened. So now I'm gonna install this little plug that plugs the opening that gives us access to the torque converter bolts. Just like that. Okay. Well, the next step is we're gonna install this bolt that goes over here. Okay. Now, before we do everything back here, let's come in front of the engine and install the exhaust manifold. So let's install the exhaust manifold, and then we're going to tighten the bell housing bolts over here. So now we're going to tighten these bell housing bolts over here. And then this one over here. So now we're going to install the thermostat housing. So here comes the thermostat housing. So the thermostat housing bolts have the same length, so they're all the same. Okay, and then there's this tube that goes down here. We're gonna get the bolts for it started also. All right, we got the first one tightened, and then the second one. And then we're gonna tighten these ones down here. All right, so the thermostat housing is installed. So now we're gonna install our exhaust manifold. We actually have a new exhaust manifold gasket that we're going to install. So let me get this gasket out of the bag here. Okay, so this one is gonna go like this. Okay, so we got our new exhaust manifold gasket installed. So now I'm gonna bring down my exhaust manifold. So here is our exhaust manifold. We're gonna lower it down. I did clean the surface of it, so this is cleaned. Okay, so now we're gonna install the exhaust manifold just like that. Perfect. And then we're gonna get all the nuts for the exhaust manifold installed. Okay, so we got all the bolts, all the nuts for the exhaust manifold snug. So now I'm gonna torque them. I'm gonna tighten them down. You can torque them if you want, but I'm gonna use my natural torque wrench. Okay, so I know how 37 foot-pound feels, so this is good. All right, so that's done. We got that tightened. So now what's next? So now the next step is we're gonna install the dipstick tube. Okay, just like that. Now that we got the dipstick tube installed, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install the bolt that goes over here on the motor mount. let me get this motor mount out of the way. So now we're going to install our motor mount. Alright, so we got the front motor mount installed. So now we're going to install the heat shield that covers the exhaust manifold. So here comes our heat shield. Just like that. Okay, very good. We got that installed. Well, we lost our light, so now we have to use a different light for this. Alright, so we got the bolt for the dipstick tube installed. We're good. So now we can install our dipstick. Okay. Now we need to go under the vehicle so we can install the exhaust pipe to the catalytic converter, and then we're going to tighten the bell housing bolts that are under the engine. But before I do that, I'm going to install the alternator while we are here. Let's install the alternator, because when we are under the vehicle, I am going to install the serpentine belt also. Actually, before I install the alternator, let's install the AC compressor first. Here comes our AC compressor. So I can't really see down here. So I got the AC compressor bolt started. The AC compressor bolts are 13mm bolts. All right, so AC compressor is installed. So now let's install our alternator. Here comes our alternator. We're gonna install this baby over here. Okay, so now we're gonna tighten this bolt. We got the alternator bolt started. All right, so now let's go under the vehicle. We're gonna install the serpentine belt, and then we're gonna finish installing everything else that we have under the vehicle. So now we're gonna install our exhaust pipe over here. We're also gonna open the drain plug to see if there's oil in the oil pan. So we're gonna drain any oil that we might have in the oil pan. Oh, nothing is in the oil pan. So that's good. They must have drained it at the junkyard. All right, so I got the bolts for the exhaust tightened. So now what's next? So now the next step is we're gonna install the serpentine belt. All right, I got the belt installed. Everything looks good. Okay, we're good to go. There's one more bolt over here. One more tighten. So we got our serpentine belt installed. So here it is. Everything looks good. So now let's install the cover that goes over here, and then we're gonna lower the vehicle. So this cover is gonna go right here. All right, so now let's lower the vehicle. All right, we are back under the hood. So now I'm going to install our starter. I'm going to tighten this bolt here first. All right, we got that tight. And then the next thing is we're going to install our starter motor. Okay, actually, before we install the starter motor, let me get all the wires down here first. I'm installing the starter control wire. All right, so that's good right there. Okay, let's install the starter. Let's get this bolt over here started first. Alrighty, so that's good right there. Sorry guys, you guys can't really see what I'm doing here. Alright, so we got the starter installed. Now I'm connecting all the electrical connectors of we're connecting all the electrical connectors of the starter. All right, so we got all the wires installed back here. So now what's next? Now the next step is installing the intake manifold. So at this point we can go ahead and install our intake manifold. So here comes our intake manifold. We're gonna install our intake manifold here nicely. Let me make sure that our seals didn't move. Now all these intake manifold bolts are all the same length. Very nice. We are making progress. So we're gonna fold this wiring up here. Okay, we are making progress. So now I'm gonna install our throttle body assembly. So let me clean the throttle first. So I cleaned the throttle body assembly. So now we're gonna install it. Okay. All right, so we got the bolt for the throttle body tightened. We got the throttle body electrical connector connected, and then our purge valve is gonna go over here. Then this tube is gonna connect there. This guy is gonna go there. And then our fuel line is gonna connect right there. Okay, so now what? Okay, so we're making progress here. Okay, so we are making progress. Everything is coming back together slowly and surely. So now we're going to install the electrical connectors over here. So now we're going to install this new hose that's gonna go down here. So now I'm installing the heater hose that goes to the heater core. Nice. So we got that installed. So now we're gonna install the second hose. All right, so we're good there. So now I'm making sure that all our components here get connected. So we got all our hoses, everything connected. We're making progress. We're gonna start this engine very soon. I'm also gonna tape these wires over here. All right, very nice. So, all right, so now what's next? So now I'm gonna connect the connector for the oil pressure switch. Okay, so everything is back together. So now I'm gonna install the lower radiator hose. All right, very good. Everything is going pretty smoothly here. Very good. So now we're gonna install our AC lines. All right, so we got our AC lines connected to the AC compressor. So now we're gonna install our upper radiator hose. Actually, before we install our upper radiator hose, let's start putting coolant in the cooling system first. I'm gonna put coolant in the cooling system through the upper radiator hose. Actually, I changed my mind. Let's connect our upper radiator hose, and then we're gonna put coolant in the cooling system. We're gonna put coolant in the cooling system here. So we're putting orange coolant in the cooling system. Okay, so now what's next? So the next step is we're gonna put engine oil in the engine. So we're gonna put 5W30 in the engine. We're putting 530 in the engine. Let's check the level. Let's check the oil level again. Okay, we have enough oil in the engine, so that's good. All right, I got my AC machine here. We're gonna turn on our AC machine. We're gonna charge the AC system. Remember, we recovered the refrigerant from the system, so now we're gonna charge the system back up. And then I'm gonna install the air filter box, and after that we're gonna start the engine. So let me get my service lines connected. So we're gonna vacuum the system, and then we're gonna charge it. I have charged the AC system, so we're good to go. I'm gonna get my service lines out of the way. So now we're gonna grab our battery charger and put the battery charger on the battery here. So we are done with the AC machine. I'm gonna turn it off. We're gonna get this AC machine out of the way. This battery is completely dead. Okay, so now the next step is we're gonna install our air filter box. Here comes our air filter box. Just like that. So we're gonna tighten the screws for the air filter box. So we're making progress. So now we're gonna install our mass airflow sensor electrical connector, and then I'm gonna tighten the clamp down here, and then we're gonna start the engine. Who's ready for the moment of the truth? So we got everything back together. So right now we are ready to start the engine. So let's get all these tools out. All right, so now who's ready to hear this engine run? So now I'm gonna go in the vehicle so we can start the engine. Okay, is it gonna run? Fingers crossed. Let's see. I can hear the pump running. Actually, this thing doesn't have enough fuel in the tank. So right there, as you can hear, the engine is running. I'm gonna turn off our battery charger. So this engine sounds pretty good. We're good. Now this smoke is because when I was putting coolant in the cooling system, I had some coolant that spilled over here. We're good. I like what I see. I like how this engine sounds. Very nice. I'm gonna turn off the engine. So right there, engine starts, one kick. All right. So let me check the oil level. Let's make sure we have enough oil in the engine. Okay, so we have to add oil in the engine. All right, we have enough oil in the engine. All right, so this is good. I like how the engine sounds. Very nice. So now I'm going to install the hood. So here comes our hood. So we're gonna carefully install our hood. So since I'm doing this by myself, I need to be careful. I'm gonna reach in here and get the first nut started. So this side is good. So now we're gonna do the same thing over here. Just gently. That's it. So this is how you install a hood by yourself. All right guys, so we are done. We're good to go. At this point, I'm going to take this vehicle on a test drive and then we should be good. So we're done. We did a good job. I'm going to turn the engine on and off a couple times and then we're going to wrap up this video. So we got no lights on the dash. This is good, guys. Don't worry about this smoke, okay? Once we drive it, the smoke is gonna stop smoking. I'm gonna leave this right over here. This is how you remove and replace an engine on this 2012 Chevy Cruze with a 1.8 liter engine. I hope you liked the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, tell us why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the bell so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching. See you next time.